couldn't think of any other job I'd like to do than work with these dolphins. Dolphins are like children in a way. After you've worked with them for any period of time, you get to know them so well and their little personalities and their likes and dislikes, it's hard to sell them. I've learned by working with them that they are very clever. They consider the mentality of one to be about the age of about 6 or 7-year-old when they can do about 10 to 12 tricks. They try to get away with everything they can, like children. I've noticed this a lot working with my daughter. They'll try everything they can to get their way. When they find out it doesn't work, then they'll do what you want them to do. However, with a dolphin, you use fish as a reward, or your little girl, you use affection and kindness.
This is Jerry Mitchell, professional dolphin catcher, Key Largo, Florida. Man has always felt close to the dolphin. At the Aquarium of Niagara Falls, USA, completed in 1965, trainers spend almost as much time working with their prized dolphins as they do showing them. Sailor, Misty, and Splash cavort daily in the huge 100,000-gallon split-level dolphin pool. Mutual play between man and dolphin is a common occurrence, and games are improvised by the head trainer to break up the routine of performance. They possess a special and mysterious sonar with which they can send out high-frequency signals underwater. The signals bounce off things and return to the dolphin, so it can judge the size, shape, location, like locating rings tossed on the surface of the water. When medical researchers sought answers to old questions about man and disease, they turned to the dolphins recently for assistance. Cancer research scientists at the famed Roswell Park Memorial Institute in Buffalo made some startling discoveries about dolphin blood. Its promise in further research meant more samples were needed from the wild Atlantic bottlenose dolphin. The only way to get them was to capture the dolphin in its own ocean habitat. Before setting out, samples were taken at the Aquarium of Niagara Falls, USA, to help establish standard blood values and to allow a health analysis of the expensive performing animals. The aquarium's main pool is gradually drained, so the animals may be gently tied to individual stretchers with damp rags. The dolphins are kept constantly moist to leave the skin unbruised and the body temperatures normal. By sampling captive dolphins at the aquarium, Dr. Elias Cohen, a senior cancer researcher at Roswell Park, has discovered their values are strikingly similar to those of humans. This is important to Dr. Cohen, for if he can use dolphin serum to identify variations in human blood groups, it will help immensely in typing organ and bone marrow transplants and other life-saving operations. This bold research work is directed not at a solution for cancer itself, but at the important periphery of knowledge surrounding cancer-related treatment. The valuable animals are also inoculated by a veterinarian to prevent a skin disease sometimes contracted from the dolphin's diet of fish.
What I like is 8-inch stretch mesh, which doesn't allow the dolphins to get their heads caught in it. all you buy is the webbing. Then you have to sew the floats and the corks in. After you've got the float line done, then you have to do the same thing with the leads. Now, the old type lead sinkers that used to be sewed in, we don't use that because it going out of the boat sounds like a machine gun. We have the new modern stuff called the lead rope. When we stack the net on the boat, we have to stack it so that when you throw the float line, the rest of the net comes off automatically. From our base in Key Largo, sometimes we're lucky and we find them within 2 or 3 miles and catch them, and that makes it a short distance back to our pens. But on other days, we travel as far as Key West, which is about 70, 80 miles by water. We can't catch in this area here because this is the Everglades National Park. We can catch from the Intercoastal Waterway in. Our best bets go down to Marathon. There's a lot more shallower water down there, and underneath the bridges is a good area where they're usually hanging around. The speed of the boat is very important during the catching of the dolphins because it allows the boat to get up on a higher plane, and that in itself allows the boat to turn faster. We use the airplane to spot the dolphins because you can see them for a much greater distance, and the water being so shallow and clear that you can tell which keepers or which aren't the keepers.
Using an airplane to catch ocean creatures may sound silly, but it isn't. It's not only exciting, it's the reason for Mitchell's success as a dolphin hunter. The methods of dolphin catching have progressed a long way from the old days, when an animal was chased until exhausted and then yanked into the boat after someone had slipped a loop over the tail fluke. Dr. Cohen, bouncing along in the stern, sits atop his needles and sampling equipment, which he stows in an ordinary picnic freezer. Mitchell steers his boat according to the airborne instructions he receives on his radio from the pilot above, who guides him to the Dolphin schools.
One of the necessary qualifications of a good dolphin spotter is to be able to pick out the keepers in the herd of dolphins. Now, a keeper is anything from 6 to 7.5 foot long.
Mitchell will have the added advantage of 2 film crew vessels to help him herd the dolphins.
Starboard. Pick up a little more speed and come on.
Much of our operation depends on the weather. Sometimes when the wind is blowing out of the west, we have to catch on the east side of the island because the water gets real choppy and it's hard to spot the dolphins once the airplane has even put us right on them. Once the airplane has spotted the dolphins, he radios the position of them back to me, and we pour on the coal to get there as soon as we can to keep them from going into deeper water.
Roger, 3 keepers, I do believe, 12 animals total, 12 total. About 4 miles south of 7 Mile Bridge, over. Roger, okay, your nickel, go ahead and shoot it. Dead ahead, starboard 5, you're looking good.
Like the cowboy uses his horse to herd the cattle into the corral, we use our boats in much the same way. We use shallower water. Our nets almost 24 feet deep, therefore we like to get them in as shallow water as possible.
Okay, you're coming up on them, Unit 2. They're about 200 yards on your bow. 200 yards on your bow.
we've got them, all of a sudden they've figured out what we're doing and they take out across the wake.
We're going to try and get them where they're at. Okay, 50 feet on your bow. Dead easier, Joe. Course 5, looking good. All right, starboard, let's get them in a circle. Okay, be prepared to throw them in. You're going to stand by to throw it. Stand by to throw it. Okay, keep turning 26. Keep turning 26. Let's keep them in there now. Okay, roger, roger. Looking good, looking good. Okay, you run out of net yet? Joe, you ran out of net. Pick it up.
When we set the net, we're going around the dolphins. Sometimes they don't cooperate and go the direction they're supposed to, and they'll maybe run a little bit longer. And what you're supposed to do after you've completed the circle is to make the ends come together. However, sometimes you run out of net before this happens, and you have to tow the net together.
Okay, got some funny looking net down here, 26.
Sometimes after we've set the net, we find an overlap in the net, which means the lead's over the float line and makes a hole in the net where the dolphins can get out. We'll circle the net the second time. If I tell Robbie and Gary to jump, they'll jump in and get it untied. They complain that it's all hard work and everything, but in talking with them, you'll find that they wouldn't trade their job for anything. Set the net 5 or 6 times a day. It gets to be a lot like work. Gary and Robbie, they work real good at it. Your hands get awful sore, and the net seems twice as long. It's 400 yards long now. However, when we do catch a dolphin, the net seems to come in faster. Everybody's enthused. There's no complaints about, gee, this net sure is long. After the dolphins hit the net, they thrash around quite a bit. Sometimes they roll up in it. Their tail will get caught in the net, and they'll roll the net up. I'd rather save the life of a dolphin by cutting him out than letting him die. You can always mend the net, so you can't bring a dolphin back to life. Once you've got them in the boat, they start making little sounds. This is their language. I don't know whether they're trying to talk to us or not. The size of the dolphin that we like to catch is between 6 and 7.5 feet long. When we catch the dolphins and we pull the net in, the dorsal fin and the pectoral fins, they get little scratches on them. Now these bleed quite a bit. To the average eye, it looked like they were bleeding to death. However, to them, it's just like if we fell down and scratched our elbow.
Ridgeway, starboard. That's a beautiful circle. They're going to hit the net. Stay out. Hold it.
There were more dolphins in this herd than we expected, and before we knew it, there were animals surfacing all around us. During the excitement, we had missed one overlay, and at this point, we didn't want to lose any of the animals. One of the animals that was in the net and we caught was a baby. We had to take it in the boat and keep it there until we got the mother untangled. Because if we put it back in the water, it would just hit the net, become entangled, and possibly drown, trying to get back to its mother.
You can't pull anymore. You got his tail, man.
Come on, pull that net. Get that big mama out. After we got the mother out, it was safe to put the baby back in, and it wouldn't become entangled in the net.
No, pull the net. Look in it.
Working in close quarters like this can be very dangerous. Not too long ago, I had my 4 front teeth knocked out. I sure don't.
Dr. Cohen makes his living in a more careful way.
Dolphin blood is like human blood, but with fewer but larger red cells for maximum oxygen carrying capacity. More than one sample is collected for chemical tests by me and my colleague Dr. Reynoso. My main goal is to find out whether dolphin blood can be used in new tests that differentiate normal human from cancer patient red cells. How different is the blood cell count or chemistry of a captive dolphin compared to a wild one? If we collected blood samples in their native habitat, the waters of could make such a comparison.
The prime goal of this expedition was to obtain scientific blood samplings. But serious dolphin hunting makes Mitchell one of the top providers of show animals for aquariums all over the world. Biologists like Dr. Cohen have been keeping careful statistics on dolphin health ever since the easily trained animals became popular in the entertainment world about a decade ago. Dr. Cohen became interested in dolphin blood about 4 years ago after he noticed its values were strikingly. Scientists had worked with other species, including crabs and crocodiles, but the blood of the dolphin seemed most promising for further study.
We have to ship samples within 24 hours after collection to the Roswell Park lab in Chile, Buffalo. Trusty thermos jugs serve as mini coolers for blood samples in transit. Lab automation mixes blood samples so that a technician can put blood into an electronic cell counter with automatic printout of results. Roswell Park tests showed little difference between blood samples of wild and captive dolphins. We will continue our research, however, on the use of dolphin blood in cancer research.
We feed fresh frozen. One of the biggest problems when you're feeding them the dead mackerel is to get them to eat dead fish after you've caught them. We supplement their diets with vitamins and minerals, and this makes up for the loss of vitamins that are in the dead mackerel. We feed the dolphins about 15 to 20 pounds of mackerel a day. Usually the first day or so, they'll look at it and push it around, then they start eating it. We've been very lucky in getting all our animals to eat in the first couple days, but the maximum period has been a week. In training the dolphins, we start out with the simplest of tricks, which are their natural abilities, which they can do and do out in the wild. In their training, we teach them the simplest of the behaviors, such as jumping. They do this on their own. What we have to do then is to get them to do it on command. We use hand signals mostly. You can also use voice signals. And then we use the whistle. When they perform the trick correctly, we blow the whistle. They can expect food as a reward. These are my real pets, LT and Susie. I named LT after my little daughter, Lenore Taylor, and we were out catching one day, and we caught this small dolphin. She was 6'2" female, and I told the boys then that I was going to save this one and name it after my little daughter. So my ideas were to train it and become used to it with Lenore, so that when she became older, they could swim together and play together. Not many children have a dolphin for a pet. shipping container is an aluminum frame with a vinyl liner. The animals are suspended in the stretcher, it's a canvas stretcher, with foam rubber sewn inside for comfort. Again, a dolphin can remain out of the water for an indefinite period of time, provided are kept wet. This is their temperature control device. We do this by means of a spray system, which is mounted on top of the box. There's a pump in the bottom of the liner, which is a battery-operated pump, which pumps water up and through the spray bars onto the dolphin. This has given me, as a collector, an opportunity to show what great care is given in the catching and training of a dolphin. Their intelligence has been rated next to man. In fact, almost human.